Good morning, beautiful people. It is Friday, and yes, you deserve a pat on the back and a round of applause and all of the other shit that you want just for making it to Friday. Because hell, people work hard to get here once a week. People work exceptionally hard to get to a point where they can actually enjoy themselves for 2 days and have 2 days off from work and, like balance shit out. And well, that's what we're here for, to kind of help you celebrate it. So happy Friday, everybody. Morning, Simphiwe. How are you?
Good morning, Gareth. I'm good. How are you?
Good, very good. I got a very nice email complimenting you yesterday.
Oh, do share.
Oh, okay. Well, since you asked, let me just find this email. I'm just going to skip to the part about you because I know that's all you're interested in, right?
Yes, sir. I mean, it's a good way to start my Friday morning with some beautiful compliments.
Okay, not everyone got compliments, just basically you. Okay, so
even better. Like, yes, this is how Friday should start.
So nobody else on the show got any compliments except for Simphiwe, and this is the paragraph that counts. It's from Snaye, who's a regular listener, who says, I also want to compliment you on the great work that Simphiwe has been doing. She's really improved. She's gotten more confident. Every time I watch her, I look forward to Fridays to listen to her and her sweet, sweet laugh. Isn't that nice?
Thank you. Like, my Friday is made. Like, we can wrap up the show. Thank you so much for coming, guys. This is amazing. Have a great weekend.
All right, everybody. Bye-bye. That's all. We came for that. That's the end. Now we can leave. Thank you. Thank you. Very, very nice. And Lucky saying, Chief Simphiwe in the building. Well, yes, after that, absolutely.
Yes, put some respect on my name.
Yeah, let's not say obvious things like it's cold. Of course it's cold. We're in June and we're just about heading towards the middle of June. And of course it's going to be freezing. So if you are surprised by that at all, I'm surprised that you've lasted more than one winter, because this should not come as any surprise at this point. But Donna says it is a freezing Friday. Yes, but I mean, there's some parts of the country that are colder than others, right? I mean, there's some places where it is so cold. In South Africa, we joked with one of our regulars, Leto and Zoba, yesterday on the Burning Platform, because Leto lives in the Free State. And I don't know what it is about that place, but maybe it's because it's cold and it's flat and there's no hiding from the, when that cold comes down, it stays. It clings to the ground. And that's got to be my least favorite place to be in winter is the Free State. I've been there once or twice for a weekend here and there, and it is cold. I've also noticed that Simphiwe is amazing, says Fatima. Look at this. It's compliment central for you this morning, huh?
Please do continue with the compliments. Like, I love this. This is really a great way to start the morning. I'm one of those who's not going to be like, oh, no, stop. No, continue.
Absolutely. All right. So let's get straight into it. Apparently, we always joke about how, people are distracted by their phones and they cannot live without their phones. And we always say, we don't think we're so bad on this show because, well, we sit here in the mornings and for 2 hours, we're not distracted by our phones. We're able to, at least for 2 hours, every morning we can focus on having real conversations with people, and all of that's true. But so what? 2 hours is not even that much. We should be able to do that pretty easily.
Yeah, I think
time before phones when we didn't have any hours of the day filled with phones, right?
Yes, and I would like to think that sometimes when you are at a big moment or experiencing something big, like you would actually want to fully experience that. So I don't know about you, Gareth, but one day, someday, if you ever decided to get married, I'd like to think that you would, fully be present and you would not have your phone around, right?
That would be one of those days, where you would think, I think we can do without the phone for today. Maybe, I'm marrying the woman of my dreams. This is true love.
Yes, I mean,
really special. Maybe I can make this work for at least a couple hours. I mean, getting
20 minutes at least.
Hooked
20 minutes.
The reason we bring this up is because Simphiwe has found this picture, and she can tell us the whole story. But let me put the picture up for you quickly. So this is the groom at a wedding. He's on his phone literally the entire time. Is this somebody that we know? I mean, it looks like a very beautiful wedding. He's dressed immaculately. She looks fantastic. She's smiling. She's looking around at the crowd. The crowd are obviously very into it, but he is on his phone the whole time. Do you want to explain this to us? Oh my God.
Yeah, so this is his wedding. That is his wife, right? They have just finished, saying the I do's, and they're walking down the aisle, and it's supposed to be such a celebratory moment. Guy Uputi is on his phone. I don't know who the hell he's texting. I don't know who is so important
Ooh.
that in this moment he's on his phone. And that it's a video
Yeah.
that went viral on TikTok. And basically people are
Oh,
mad and upset at the fact that, sir, you could not put your phone down for like 2 seconds
yeah.
just to enjoy this moment with your wife. She's happy. She's, people are celebrating the fact that, hey, bashadile, and he's just on his phone. I'm just like, not a
Okay,
great way
so
to
what
start
name
a
let's
marriage.
try and give him the benefit of the doubt. Name maybe three things, if you could even get to number three. Three things that it could be that would be so important that you would have to spend your wedding day, the actual ceremony of your wedding, the walking down the aisle together as a couple for the first time. What on earth could make you feel like you need to check your phone? Maybe you are the president of the United States and you're
No,
about to launch nuclear missiles.
no, I don't care
This,
about that.
this
No.
would, and you would postpone the wedding, right? You would say, guys, huge international crisis on, people are about to die. We're going to take a break from the wedding for a second. I'm going to come right back. But I'm president of the United States. And everyone would go, cool, we get it. That's fine. Number two might be, I'm just saying maybe you're expecting the birth of your first child, and
Ah!
it's with another woman, and maybe your timing is just really bad, but you have to get the look. This is a crappy reason, because why would you be marrying someone else if whatever? I'm trying to think of what it might be. Maybe you're one of those markets.com traders that we talk to every Markets Mondays, and there's a big purchase that you've made in, I don't know, shares, crypto, gold, futures, derivatives, whatever it might be. You're a massively important trader in billions of dollars, and your trade has just come through with some unbelievable news that you cannot afford to miss. Even so, those three excuses, which I've just come up with on the top of off the top of my head, those three things, all bullshit, actually. Because first of all, there's only one president of the United States, and he doesn't know whether he's in, on planet Earth at the moment. So forget about him. The other two, I made up because I was trying really hard to imagine what would distract me. And even those two, they don't work. Is there anything I've left out that maybe,
There's
let's play devil's
no.
advocate, if you will.
No, no, and no, I already know me, and I think how I was just brought up when it comes to a wedding is that there's certain no-nos, right? You walking down the aisle, I think for that 2 minutes or that 20 minutes, because it's the ceremony, and then you guys walk down the aisle. There's no phones. I don't even know why he had access to his phone. I don't understand why he even took out his phone at any given point during that time. Once they're out, and people are trying to figure out where we're going for reception. Hey, I understand you're the president. There is somebody giving birth, that an accident happened. I can understand you taking the phone. But in that moment, I'm sorry, no, chief, we're not doing that. That is just rude. I don't know. Like, I'm now questioning, do you really love your wife? Like, is this the woman you
Yeah,
actually wanted to like?
yeah.
That for me is like a big red flag. I'm like, oh,
I don't know the answer, but it must make her feel really terrible, because if there's one thing I know from the mostly happy relationships that I've had, and I wouldn't put myself forward as like a relationship expert in any which way, right?
mhm,
Please, Dr. Hanan could probably sit with me for 3 hours. The fact is, attention these days is a currency. And if you can't be bothered to pay attention to your brand new wife, you're literally just getting married. You're at the moment she has been waiting for her whole life. There isn't a girl in the world I don't care how jaded or how serious she is, who isn't excited on her wedding day. This has got to be the most exciting day of her life. And this guy cannot get off his phone for 5 minutes? I
Imagine.
don't even like it when people are in a movie, and I haven't been to the movies for ages, and they're on their phones.
Yeah,
Or
if
they're at
you
dinner. They're at dinner with you, and they're on their phones.
yeah, the movie one gets me because the light shows and then you just like, "Excuse
Yeah,
me,
man.
it's like we've also
Unbelievable.
paid to be here, so please don't do this." But yeah, like I think this was one of those moments. I don't know how she took it because I know I would have had a fit. I would have taken that phone and threw it out, and we can have the divorce the next day.
Yeah.
But she handled it much more better than I did because they actually did the whole walk and she was still smiling and whatnot. I was like, no, not try me. Try, I will show you flames. That day, that phone is going to go MIA.
So, all right, we cannot come up. Maybe someone in the audience can come up with the one reason in the whole universe that this guy would be allowed to be on his phone. Please, and guys, I mean, we're going to try and be as forgiving as we possibly can here. He was playing Angry Birds, says Slippery Pickle. What a shit excuse. Maybe he's chatting to the Uber to take them to the reception. Paul.
You have a best man for
Rachel
that.
says, I couldn't wake up today and wonder how you guys do it. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but maybe his mother is dying and he's letting her know that he's married now. Oof.
It could wait 5 more minutes.
I don't know. Congo
You
Chris,
have
I
a
think this is when
groomsman.
they're walking out together, not in together. So
Mm,
this is the point. They've been married now. They're walking down the aisle and they're going to have confetti thrown at them and all that shit. It's the
mm.
end. You can
Yes.
tell Congo Chris hasn't been to a lot of weddings.
I
Geez,
wonder why.
I've been to enough weddings to know how the ceremonies go, right? Your mother's on her
Yes.
deathbed. You promise to share the moment with her. But it's not
I
like
have
he's filming what's going on. He's literally checking a message or something on his screen that's more important. We were talking yesterday about those new Apple Vision headsets, which Mash, God bless him, told me about on Wednesday, and how what we do not need in our lives is another screen. That's the
mm,
last thing anyone needs. We need more reality, not augmented or virtual or less reality. Right?
yes.
So
And yeah,
what the
no.
hell? What the hell, dude? Maybe his side chick is about to blow him out of the water. Lol, evidence. Maybe watching
Let me
money,
tell
says Lady Lee.
all I'm saying is that even if you had a side piece, right? That
Mm.
day you make sure that your best man has your back. So you give
Oof,
him the phone and you tell him if
yes.
Roman's pizza texts, just say I'm busy. It's moments like that. If the mother or his mother is in an accident, just FaceTime her. Like all I'm saying is that there's nothing I can possibly think of right now that would have to distract you for that moment that you'll never get ever again. Like that is a once in a lifetime. That's the first if he's getting married for the first time, that it's done. That it's done. You've ruined it. And even if you guys do your vows renewal 10 years later, it's not the
Oh my
same. It's a different vibe.
God.
So he's ruined it. He's
No.
completely ruined it.
I really can't. None of these excuses seem to wash with me. I mean, someone says here, well, what if he's organized a surprise supercar as a wedding gift to his wife? Yeah,
You
but then,
delegate.
but he couldn't have done this before. He must do it during the ceremony. Come the fuck on.
Oh gosh. No, it's not no, there's nothing.
This,
We need to look at the red flag in this and just call a spade a spade. He was not supposed to be on his phone, and I feel sorry for the wife. That's it. Because
well,
if this is how he's behaving now, after you
do
said
we
I
know?
do,
Do we know who these people are? Because it seems that this thing was on TikTok. So,
no, it's just a random couple. They posted that video and it just went viral for that moment because everyone was like,
a
wait, this
woman.
is a beautiful moment. Why is he on his phone though? Like that was literally it. It's just a regular, ordinary couple that we're talking about today because homeboy decided not to put his phone away.
Yeah, someone said in the comments just now, which I thought was quite funny. He's finally decided he loves her enough to delete all the dating apps. So that was the moment he chose. People, People are busy. People are on fire this morning with ideas. Jesus. Oh my God.
That's a good one. Okay.
Maybe he's watching porn, says Mo Dollars. Really, at the wedding. Wouldn't that be the most insulting thing? Can you imagine being the wife to be at a wedding and your husband is watching porn on the phone?
Oh,
I
you
think
know
that's so
what would be
insulting.
more embarrassing is the kind of porn that he's watching, because you'd
Oh
just be
my
like,
God.
"Is
Mm.
this what you're into? Oh my gosh, who did
No,
I
no, no.
just marry?"
No, I don't know. I don't know what to think. All right. Well, I mean, if there are any other ideas, we want to hear from you. I find this so disturbing. I like it when you go to something and they actually like there's certain comedy clubs um, in America where they take your phone away from you and they put it in a locker. You can only have
Oh,
it again on your way out.
okay.
What do you
There
think of that?
is I like that. If I'm not mistaken, there is like a case, a phone case that you can buy on these online platforms where you can put your phone in and you set a timer for like 2 hours, a day, 3 days, and you won't be like it locks it in and you won't have any access to your phone for that duration that you put in. You'll be able to see maybe the time and if there's an alarm, just to switch off the alarm. But that's basically it. It's to get people to not spend as much time on their phones and be present in the moment. I think that's cool.
Um, I think it's kind of sad though that people need to have mechanisms to be more present. I try really hard, especially if I'm talking to someone for the first time or it's a business meeting or whatever else, to not have my phone on or with me. I know we've been over some of this before on the show, but what are your tips to kind of being in the moment, not being on your phone, not being distracted by other things? And I mean, people say, oh, well, I've got ADHD or whatever, but it's just
Right.
rude.
Okay.
There's no other way around it. Like you can have all of the mental health issues, you can have every single one. But if you are behaving like this and you can't even at your own wedding, for example, pay attention, or while I'm at dinner with you or whatever, I think you're just very, very rude. There's no other way to put it. And I don't care what excuses are made for you after the fact about your inability to pay attention or how
Mhm.
important the message is that you're getting from the Pope or whatever. I think it boils down to a complete lack of self control and rudeness. That's all it is.
Yes.
It's not
Yes,
your
yes,
wedding,
yes.
Gareth. You really shouldn't have an opinion, says Ancient Ether. Oh, we can't have an opinion on someone else's wedding? I don't know what world you live in, but that's pretty much why most people go to weddings. So they can say, I didn't like the bride's dress, or I thought the ceremony was too long, or the food was nice, but the reception was terrible, or whatever. That's
The
all people do, especially like grannies and aunties. That's all they do is complain about the things at the weddings and judge the weddings, right?
Yeah, I mean, there was a whole reality show called Four Weddings, right? Where they brought these four brides together and they had to
Thank you.
attend each other's weddings and judge
Hmm.
them and score them out of 10 from
Correct.
food, decor, whatnot. And whoever got the
Yes.
highest would then
Right.
win a honeymoon. Like, we're there to judge. We're there to say, oh, she looked absolutely amazing. And the food was absolutely great. And the reception, ooh, that open bar, perfect.
Right.
And
Thank
they
you.
put it on the internet. Like, I did not want to talk about this until I saw it on my TikTok timeline, which means it's fair game now. Like,
Correct. I don't know what planet Ancient Ether's on this morning, but not planet Earth where human beings live, because there are no human beings I can think of who will not judge another human being's wedding, especially, I gotta say, especially girls, right?
yes. Oh, we
Nothing
more
horrible.
harsher. Oh, yes. Like,
Way,
we are
way harsh.
judging the nails, your
Yeah.
makeup, your hair, how the dress sits on your
Well,
body. Like, did you get the right tailor made? Are you changing 3 or 4 times?
I
We're
do
judging
not
everything.
I
So,
really don't. I do not understand how Ancient Ether. You've clearly hit your head really hard this morning, waking up, and
sir.
I want you to go back to the drawing board and start again because clearly, or maybe just go to bed. Go back to bed. It's Friday. It's not your day. You don't know which planet you're on. Being in the moment is a condescending statement. I live in the real world. Ancient Ether, you're trying very hard this morning. I'm not sure where we're going. Okay, the best way to not be distracted is to interact only with attractive people. I'm always on my phone when the company I'm with is fat and unattractive. That's
Sure.
according to Carl. Well, I would say like very boring people. I go to my phone, which is rude, of course, but very
Yeah.
boring because it's sometimes you're not interested in being attracted to someone. You have, I'm sure, Carl, you have business meetings where it's really important for you to get to a deal, to understand your client or your supplier or whoever it is you're interacting with. Sometimes
Mm.
it's not about attraction. So you telling me that while there's important business to be done, you're just not going to be paying attention because the person isn't attractive to you? I
Mm-mm.
don't believe you.
Don't
Sorry.
act like that. No, no, no,
Mm.
no, no, no.
Why are we both singing? Because it must be true. Uh, I don't know. Listen to this. Donna's smart. I sometimes go a day where I switch off my phone, else I get too many interruptions and distractions so I can focus what I'm doing. That is so useful.
Yo.
Yeah, Donna's right, because if you have very important stuff to do,
Mhm.
work stuff, you have a task that you have to finish that requires the utmost concentration.
Mm.
Let's say you're an engineer, you're working on a project where you have to know where every nut and bolt in this specific thing goes, or
Yeah.
you're a person who you're diffusing a bomb. You can't be distracted by the sound of your phone ringing while you're doing that shit. Even for those of us who are in jobs where the outcome is not going to result in anyone dying,
Mm.
you should still pay attention to those things. Like, let's say I type up an important email to a client or a guest, and I'm so busy, like listening to a podcast on my phone or expecting a call or waiting for someone to message me, that I end up being distracted. And I send this half baked drivel email that doesn't make any sense at all to a potential client or guest or whoever it is. They're not going to work with me. They're going to see straight away this person can't concentrate. They're not going to know why. They're not going to know it's the phone, but
Mm.
it's going to be bad for me, right?
Yes. Well, I'm not sure about switching off phones. I don't think I'm a fan of that, but I know that I do put my phone on flight mode. So when I want to get into it, flight mode, put it
Right.
facing down. That's also another thing. So I if I try to be more like for attention purposes, I put my phone facing down. Then I won't see the notifications, even if it lights up or whatever. And then I forget about it. And you work,
Yes.
and before you
Well,
know it, you're like, "Where's my phone? Oh, I haven't seen that thing in
you,
like 3 hours."
you know what? I've started to use those focus settings that you've
Yeah.
got on an iPhone, where
Mm-hmm.
if you're sitting in a meeting or you're at work, all the social media stuff, and I hardly have any of that on my phone anymore. I think I've got Instagram and WhatsApp. That's it. All the others, Facebook and LinkedIn, and I don't have Snapchat and TikTok, but Twitter I don't have on my phone anymore. Those ones they can wait until I go into the app, for example, on something like Facebook, which is really just to wish people happy birthdays. But
Mm-hmm.
I do think like the notifications are a big problem as well. And I love those settings. So for example, I've got a couple of settings here. I've got a work setting. When I'm at
Mm-hmm.
work, it just switches off all notifications except like emergency family ones. That's it. The rest can all wait, right? They can't be that
Yes.
important. Because
Yes.
the people and by the way, you can also what's great about those settings is you can also decide which phone calls get through and which ones don't.
Oh, I love it so much because
Awesome.
people like
Take
to
the
act like
while to
everyone's
program
important.
it. Like you've got to actually set aside some time and like
Yes.
decide who's in and who's out. And it can be
Yes.
very, very tough to make those decisions. But yeah,
No.
sorry, yeah, I interrupted you.
No, I'm saying people like to act like everyone's important, and the reality is no, not they're not all important, right? And so having to pick, my mom, my dad, my sister, my grand are the only four people that can call me. Doesn't matter what's happening in my life. That's fine. And I think that helps a lot because sometimes we get into this thing of like if Gareth texts and then like Khumulimo texts me and then like I get a text from I have to answer all of them. It's like, no, you don't. Like pick you need to pick which one is more. Oh, my boss is great. I'll always answer that. But anybody else, Family texting, yes.
I totally agree with you, but then it's also the responsibility of other people to know that they can't just get hold of you whenever. And we've got to
True.
be, you know how Dr. Hanan, I keep referring to him when it comes to these smart things, but this is why we have him on once a week. He's really good. You've got to have boundaries. If you don't have boundaries, if people think they can email you on a Sunday at like 2 a.m. or on a Saturday night at like 10 in the evening, if they think you're going to respond to an email at that time, that's your fault, because you haven't been clear with them. You haven't said, hey, listen, I'm not available on weekends, or I'm with my family, or I'm on holiday. Like, I'm going to be away from X date to X date. Sorry, I'm going to place one of those out of office things. If you need to get hold of me, I'm away for 5-6 days. Please contact Simphiwe Mtetwa and give your email address. And then they must go to you. Because the minute you let people know, and listen, I know some very, very efficient people who love getting things. And trust me, they are the best people. If you ask them to do something, they're going to do it. There's no two ways about it. They are extraordinarily good at being efficient. But those people get taken advantage of, because the rest of us see, oh, if you email her at this time of the morning, she's still going to reply. So people test it. And then that poor person ends up being at the office. I mean, Mash was talking about this estate agent that he was dealing with, or this rental agent, on Wednesday last week. It was like after the office had closed and this poor woman was trying to help him. She went back into the office and did all the documents. And of course, Mash was very disorganized, leaving it to the last minute. But I do appreciate that woman doing that. But at the same time, that's going to happen to her because she's efficient and she will put everyone else first. She's going to be abused, I'm afraid. She's going to have a terrible life.
Yes. To all the people pleasers out there, just use load shedding. Just be like, oh damn, it was load shedding. I didn't charge my devices. Sorry. Like, it's okay to come up with excuses. Okay, it's okay to, if you feel like I have to reply to every text and I have to answer every phone call. No, just
You
use
don't.
what's working.
You do
For
not.
you already. Like, there's load shedding, chief. There's water crisis. Just come up with something. You had to pick up your niece. Don't always be like other people first. No, put yourself first. In the words of Mom you can only fill other people from your cup that's overflowing. There we go. Something like that. Motivation
Yeah.
Friday.
You bastardized her saying, but yes, I'm kind of. So
Yeah,
Ben
you
will be
get
joining
me.
us just now. We have quite a lot going on this morning. We've got a special guest joining us. We've got a busy day today. I'm going to tell you all about that because I think it's going to be exciting. And we want to hear from you, obviously, in the comments section. Let us know what you're on to. And okay, couple of things we want to get to today, because there's a good agenda full of stuff on a Friday. We're going to try our best to do no politics Friday. We don't like that. We've also got news for you, but Ebenhaezer Dibakwane is going to be joining us. He's an actor, comedian, writer, and MC. He's just recently been in the funniest Tropica ad. I don't know if you've seen it. Have you seen
No, I
it?
haven't. No, not yet.
So I can't play the ad, but I'll explain it to you when he's on. And this, we were saying not so long ago, there aren't that many funny ads around anymore, and we gave props to AutoTrader for their ad about those guys and the buffalo and the money in the sofa and all that stuff about Cyril, which is a very brave thing to do, because these days, politics, most brands are just so shit scared of politics that they stay away and they miss the opportunity to be funny and interesting. So I'm proud of AutoTrader, but this is another good one. It's from Tropica, and they're doing some pretty big deal advertising. I mean, I see them spending a lot of money, which again is to their credit, because in an economy like this, when you spend money on marketing, you reap the rewards. There are not that many people out there. There's not that much advertising budget, and they really are spending in the right places. Anyway, Ebenezer will be with us later on. He is keen to talk to us, and we're also keen to see him. And that's just after 7 this morning. Look who's cold. And hey, Ben.
Hey, guys.
Hello.
You look freezing. You're even wearing your beanie.
Yeah, well, it's a Richter.
Oh.
So it just
look.
covers the ears.
What do you call that?
It's a Richter. fashioned after the great Springbok rugby player Adrian Richter. He basically had like what looked. He basically played with what looked like a piece of seal leather across his ears. But what these are, they just cover your ears.
Okay, I see that. How clever.
Absolutely essential in like winter golf. Yeah, that's it.
You know, it's so amazing to me how much better your apartment looks since Daniela moved in, because women just improved everything, right? I mean, I feel like men will never be able to make a place feel like home until there's a woman in their lives. I got to give women credit. Know something, and not all women, obviously. There's some women who are just slobs and are disgraceful, but there are also those women who add. Like, I mean, you would never have put that little basket with those flowery things in it, right? I mean, you wouldn't.
No, definitely not.
No,
there's a lot of nice touches. Like I'm quite a minimalistic sort of semi-Spartan sort of person. So yeah, I mean, like it's much more impressive this side of the camera as I look into the window and my wonderful sunrise is about to happen. Yeah, she's added so much to general life in this apartment. And then behind me, where you can't see, there's cats. Obviously, I've got too many cats. I realized.
All right, well, let's get into it, because we've got a lot to talk about. Simphiwe just shared with us the most incredible picture of a groom at a wedding on his phone, and we got talking about when it's appropriate to have your phone on you and when you shouldn't have it on you, and how few people there are who are able to switch off their phone and live and actually be. Simphiwe said, be present. Pay attention to things, just be willing to switch that thing off and actually enjoy your real life, the actual life that you're interacting with, your eyes, your ears, your nose, your mouth, your hands, not this fake screen world, which we're constantly involved in.
But who's he on the phone to? Because that's what makes it interesting. Like if he's waiting for a special delivery of something that adds to the ceremony, or is some machosha trying to get back into it?
It's a machosha, but I guarantee you it's a machosha. There's no way. Listen, the guy, we went through all the possible interpolations and experiments and thought ideas, and we listed stuff, and there was just not one acceptable excuse. By the way, a lot of people are saying that thing that you got on your head is just called a headband, and women use it to put on makeup and shit. So,
very different. Absolutely different. Don't even try to discredit the Richter.
All right.
Why do people always want to try piss on things? Piss on greatness. It grates me.
Okay, so now you're starting the morning by being irritated. It's a hell of a way to start. All right, Ben, since you've just come on, a lot of people are very confused about what's happened with LIV and the PGA, and there seems to me to be a lot of egg on the faces of the PGA people who were saying terrible things about LIV Golf. Of course, it's a Saudi thing. It's backed by the Saudi royal family and their money. And these guys at the PGA, as far as I know, again, I'm not the expert on this, these guys were shitting all over the LIV Golf people and saying, it's basically like giving the 9/11 terrorists money. I mean, they were saying things like that. It was awful what these guys are saying. I'm no big fan of Saudi Arabia, but the PGA was being scurrilous about this LIV Golf, and now they're gonna do a deal. Now everything's forgiven. They're all best friends. Bullshit. I'm calling bullshit.
Yeah, there's obviously a lot to unpack, but where I add value in life is I can give you an educated hot take. So when it all comes down to Saudi Arabia wanting to be involved in golf, whether they're entitled to, whether they're not entitled to, I'm not entirely sure who gets to decide that. But their huge sovereign wealth fund, which is the second biggest in the world behind Norway, I think it is, they wanted to invest $1 billion. Okay, so they went to the PGA Tour. And the PGA Tour, just like your stereotypical boys club, country club, they look down on them like, we don't want your money. Yeah. And then then the Saudis were like, okay, well, how else do we get into golf? So they tried a couple of things. Everyone kind of ghosted them and their money because everyone's like, oh, it's blood money, it's blood money. And then eventually they were like, well, fuck it. We're just going to make LIV Golf then. We've got Greg Norman. We've got a couple of players who are now going to be seen as dissidents, but we're going to create something because we want to be in golf. It's like when you go into a shop, like Julia Roberts, when she was a prostitute in Pretty Woman, she had money, right? And she wanted to go and buy stuff, and they all looked down on her. And then eventually, it became a bigger deal. And then they all had egg on their face because now the money that she was going to spend in the shop was good enough. And that's kind of where they are now. Now, I'm not calling Saudi Arabia prostitutes or Julia Roberts in that front, but it's a very similar kind of movie. So they created LIV Golf, which created a stir, which created a civil war in golf, if you like the headlines out there. And then eventually, I think the PGA Tour were just so absolutely, well, they were just arrogant. They are literally falling on their pile of hubris right now because they thought they would be untouchable. They thought they would be the only force in golf. And now,
didn't they also say terrible things to some of the golfers who were going to go work with LIV Golf? They were like, they attacked these guys. They called them unpatriotic. They called them money grabbing whores. All of that kind of thing. They weren't very nice.
No, they were terrible, and they ostracized them. They took away their playing rights, and then basically these guys became the outcasts of the world because they took money from Saudi Arabia. Now, at the time, Saudi Arabia's money is everywhere, as you know. I mean, they own so much of U.S. debt. They are in every sport in the world. They are everywhere because there's so much money and there's so much oil need and all that kind of stuff. There are so many companies out there that are basically Saudis. So they were like, well, we just want to make money and kind of support our families and live a better life. So that's what we're going to do. And the PGA Tour commissioner was like, no one's ever had to apologize about 9/11 because they play on this tour. Like bullshit like that.
Wow.
And then what really happened is that the guys started going to court with this kind of stuff because there was some just a lot of hypocrisy. Because when you're on the PGA Tour, you're an independent contractor basically. So if you don't make the cuts, you don't make a cent. And what LIV was saying is that come play with us. We're going to have this whole thing. Everyone makes money. You only play 3 days. You can wear shorts. You're only going to play 7-10 times a year. So in many ways, it was a good professional choice. And then suddenly, the PGA Tour starts giving people money for not making the cuts. Suddenly, they're having smaller field events. It's just so much hypocrisy. And then eventually, LIV wanted to basically invest in the PGA Tour again, a partner. And then they were in such a position where they were like, look, guys, we're going to go to court. We got more money than you. We are going to basically out-lawyer you. So how about we merge? So what the merger is now is that the funny part is that guys like Rory McIlroy, who was the head boy of the PGA Tour, he is now being brought out, as he says, the sacrificial lamb. And his quotes were like, well, Saudi money's in everything, so at least now we have a great way of channeling it into golf. So all of a sudden, Saudi money is cool, It's like, hey, let's party. So there's a lot of hypocrisy. I think that a lot of people in golf are ultimately, and this is my biggest takeouts here, is that you can take this in a couple of directions. So basically, LIV isn't now partnering with the PGA Tour. That's just a headline. The Saudis are basically having a bigger stake in golf. What happens to LIV is actually kind of unsure. What happens to the events is kind of unsure. Greg Norman, who now hates everyone for good reason, will take LIV to the grave because he thinks this is the best thing. But the one thing that I think is the biggest takeout here is that you can never underestimate in what a pretty little privileged bubble these golfers live in. But they have these comments and they flip-flop around this kind of stuff. These guys don't live in the real world. From event to event, there is literally someone wiping their behind at the top level. So they want to give you world views about economics and the sort of efficacy around money and trade and these things. These folks are all talking a pile of shit because everyone's got a price and they thought they didn't have it. But I tell you what, all the guys that sit...
We are all whores. Everybody has a price for something, right?
We are all... We aren't whores. We're humans. We want things, and things cost money, and we're survivors. And some of us want to create families and give them opportunities. It's not like whores. Whores is going back to, again, Julia Roberts and Pretty Woman. But what I do find just so interesting about these other stories is that there are people out there who left 100 million and plus on the table to be loyal to the PGA Tour, and that money is no longer on the table, and they're still on the PGA Tour. So guys like Dustin Johnson, Bryson DeChambeau, Phil Mickelson, there are hundreds of millionaires are coming back, and they're like,
loyalty gets you nothing is the other lesson, right?
So I can tell you a funny story which side Gary plays on. So
Yeah.
Gary's been
a question from MM in the comments. Go on.
As I've always said, Gary Player is the most entertaining sports entity in the whole world. He should be respected. He should be encouraged. At no stage should he ever be put in the shadows. So Gary is Mr. Worldwide before Pitbull was. And he would go to all these countries and they give him shit tons of money to either design a golf course or teach one of their stupid children to play. Like, Gary makes money overseas, right? And he said, like, the Saudis originally, he said the Saudis are allies in world golf. And technically he is correct, because the Saudis want to put money into world golf, right? They even want to boost the women's game, they were saying. And they do, they put money into that. And then Gary had like this blip around the Masters this year where he suddenly went full circle saying LIV is a sham. I can't believe I can't believe these players are losing their legacy to go chase the money. But he's saying all of that with Saudi golf written on his shirt.
Do you think he's just...
He's old.
Yeah, no, he's senile. He doesn't anymore.
Every now and again, if you go to like a high school production, every now and again, one of the actors will lose their lines, right? And then someone has to prompt them again. So what Gary does is, like, Gary's always worked off a script. He's got his stories, how he met Elvis and how he can hold his clubs with his two fingers and all this kind of business. And eventually, sometimes you get him at a raw moment and he'll just cut loose, like your old drunk grandfather at Christmas, when you bring a mixed race person around. He's so brilliant, this guy. Anyway, now he's gone back to the equilibrium of where the paychecks are. And now he's like, Saudis are investing, they're growing the game, all this kind of stuff. But the blip he had around the Masters was fantastic.
Well, again, I've got to say that capitalism wins. And we all love that grandfather or uncle at the wedding who says inappropriate things. We all love it, but we don't want to be them.
We're all shitheads. We all want money. We all want to live it up. And there's always going to be unethical ways of doing things, Everyone dances for something. Some people just dance more than others. And that's kind of it.
If someone offered you the right amount of money to do something, everyone has their price, right? Everyone.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes and yes. I don't know what that price is, but when I hear it, I'll know. I will know. I will know. Yes, I'm selling my soul. Yes, let's go. Bye.
Yes, and then let's keep moving. And let's keep moving. Let's not try pretend that we're all amazing people. And ultimately, going back to this whole thing about golf, and again, I like to pick up these little things that make me laugh. Rory McIlroy has one of those stupid, ironic bios on Twitter where he says, "I hit a white ball in the field." I fucking hate when people do that shit. It's just not funny. So, dude, you hit a white ball in the field. How about you shut the fuck up about where the money comes from then? Because it's not like you're really saving humanity here. You grew up very good at hitting a ball. Let's keep it moving from there.
Yeah, like how about a little
blessings.
Just be you've lucked out. You are one of the most fortunate people among the fortunate people. You can hit a ball pretty well. You've got a talent. Sure, you practice, but you got the opportunity to do this for a living and to make a ton of money doing it. Shut up and be grateful. Anything less is going to make the rest of us feel like you're just a complete douchebag.
Yeah. So, Gareth, just while we finish this topic off, just Google Rory McIlroy, 18 years old or 19 years old.
All right.
And we'll finish on this. If Rory didn't have golfing talent, there was a very good chance that he would be packing bags for someone, or he would be doing something with car wheels.
Oh my God, I just found a picture of him. Oh wow. Okay, wait. This is bad. So you want to show people what he looked like? Is that what we're looking for here?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh Jesus. All right. Simphiwe, this is not the guy you're going to fall in love with. I'm just going to warn you in advance.
Oh,
I find two versions of this. There's the one where he has like the curly hair on the sides of his head.
Okay.
And then there's the one where he's got another haircut. Which one do you prefer? Well, Ben, I'll let you decide. Ironically, in this picture, he's wearing a Jumeirah Hotels and Resorts cap, which tells you another thing about how he hasn't got a problem with the Arab world, right?
No, of course not, because it helped. At the right time, it helps.
Yeah, and then, of course, he's got principles later on. So guys, this is nothing new. Here's Rory McIlroy.
Okay, so that's him at his best, right? So
wait, at his best.
Well, obviously, he's at an awards thing with he's wearing a suit and tuxedo.
There he is. Look at
that. If he didn't have qualities of hitting a golf ball, Rory also he pays carbon emissions. He flies private, okay?
Oh boy.
But because he wants to be a great person, he pays those stupid carbon emissions where he basically sort of absolves himself of any sort of carbon footprint, but he still flies private.
Oh,
I will say this: there's no ugly millionaire.
No,
he's just not my cup of tea, But if he did look my way, I wouldn't say no. That bank balance is very handsome.
What Simphiwe was saying is that she would have gone for LIV Golf right away if she was a golfer.
Yeah, but again, But again, like money does solve so many different things. If you look at those pictures you just showed of Rory now, are very unsettling for early in the morning. You look at him now; he looks like a normal, handsome adult. He looks like a European gent. He looks well traveled. He looks like someone who could probably start a conversation. Conor McGregor was basically a plumber. Well, he was a plumber, and he was he was hanging out in the motorway for some guy in a van to pick him up at 5 a.m. so he can go and fish for turds. Look at him then. Look at him now. Money makes you handsome. Money makes you handsome. And
so
are you telling me that people don't want to be handsome and good looking? And money can do that. I know if I had another $1 million, $2 million, or if I had $8 million, $2 million,
I was gonna say, Ben, you got $1 million in the bank.
If I had that money, I'd be a very handsome man.
Look, here's Rory McIlroy now. I mean, he looks much better now. matching top and baseball cap from Nike. Teeth are all straightened. They're whiter. Skin looks much better. The hair's been cut properly by someone who isn't his mom. That's good.
Yeah,
it's good to be him now with some money.
Exactly.
Offsetting that carbon footprint of yours. God, what a stupid thing to waste money on. It's not like your money is going to repairing the atmosphere. It's going into some government's pocket. That's all it's doing.
But when you're in a bubble like these golfers are, you think that's a good thing, and then you go to town on it.
Well, it's not just the golfers. It's lots of people who they're trying to assuage their guilt because they wake up in the morning and they can't believe how lucky they are. But they don't want to say how lucky they are because they want other people to think that they've got some secret. Meanwhile, they've just stumbled into an extremely fortunate life. I watched, Sam Harris is one of the people who I like to check in with on the internet every now and then. But Sam Harris, I'm afraid, has become a bit of a joke since COVID because he went hard on the masks and the lockdowns and the vaccines and everything else. And he's trying to backtrack now, but along the way, he also insulted a bunch of people who were his friends who he disagreed with. And I saw this video of him yesterday. And he basically said, there's no such thing as a self-made man. I kind of agree with it in some ways. In other ways, I don't. He said, there's no such thing as a self-made man. It's a myth. It's a pseudo-reality. Nobody does anything on their own. You didn't choose to be born to certain parents. You didn't have any say in how intelligent you are. He said the fact that you don't come out brain damaged is just pure good luck. That's all it is. Because a lot of people are brain damaged and they're but by the grace of God go you. And I mean, that stuff makes sense, which is why even though I've ended up disagreeing with him a lot more in the last couple of years, he makes sense that way. I mean, Rory McIlroy, he didn't decide to go into golf. Someone at a young age got hold of him and said, hey, listen, we're going to get you into golf. It's like Serena's, dad.
His dad. It was his dad.
Yeah. Okay. So Rory McIlroy's dad, Serena's and Venus's dad, Andre Agassi's dad, Tiger Woods' dad. Again, you don't choose who your parents are. And sometimes they make all your choices for you until you're a certain age. Then you have this bitter and resentful relationship with them, and it all plays out much like Joseph Jackson and the Jackson 5, where you end up a disaster, but you got lots of money. You're a huge success because your father has driven you so hard that's inevitable for you. But whether you're happy or not, it's a whole different issue. Either way, the point is, I look at these people and you think, just be grateful. You're so lucky you've landed with your ass in the butter. For you to now go around telling everyone else how bad they are or how they need to just work a little harder, It's just so demeaning, and it's so patronizing. Let us talk about something else entirely, because Simphiwe has found a list. You know how her lists are mostly bullshit, Ben? You know how her lists make no sense at all. She's found a list of countries where men sit down to pee. And I would say straight up, either this is total bullshit, Simphiwe, and it's going to be like all your other lists, which have never, ever really passed muster in terms of being valuable pieces of research, or you've finally discovered the list of countries for women to avoid trying to find a husband in. One of those two. One of those two. So let's look at these countries. I'm pretty sure there'll be some surprises in this list. Go for it.
I don't know, but researchers conducted a 13-country study on men's peeing preference. Okay, they asked them one question, which was, how often do you sit down to only pee? And they had options: every time, most times, sometimes, rarely, don't know, or never. We'll start with the least, and then we'll go to the most. So coming in 5th place is the USA, with 31% saying never. They don't do that thing. Number 4, Singapore, 32%. Number 3 is Britain with 33%. At number 2, it is Spain with 33%. And number 1 is Mexico with 36%. So those are the countries that say we never do this. That's not up our
those are real. Those countries, I didn't know that men had an option. Ben, were you ever given the option, especially in your youth when you were taught things by your parents? We talk about Rory McIlroy being taught stuff by his parents. Were you ever told by anyone that it's okay for you as a guy to sit down and pee? Ever?
I don't think there was anything too formal around it. I think there was just, this is what you do. You stand up.
Yeah.
I know in the beginning, it's like, as a guy, you always get told, you got to aim properly. And then I guess because there's so much attention around aiming, you don't sit because it takes away aiming. Therefore, there's no fun.
Mm-hmm. Well, now let's go to the fun side of things, the countries that actually do it more often than not. So this is the top 5 that say the answers were always and most times, right? Coming in at whopping number 5 is Australia with 39%. Can you believe that?
Well,
I knew the nanny state. The nanny state would eventually have a cost. Right? There'd eventually be a cost for being in the nanny state, and this is it.
Yeah.
Okay. Coming in at number 4 is Canada with 36%.
Well, Justin Trudeau only sits to pee.
Oh,
definitely.
Sure.
I don't think he's ever stood to pee. And by the way, he also gets in the pool at the steps.
Yes.
Coming in at number 3 is Denmark with 44%.
Oh.
And coming in at 2nd place, it is Sweden with 50%.
Okay.
Anyone want to take a guess at number 1?
It's going to be in the same vein. I mean, we've got all these countries that are super, super first world, but where the government decides everything for you. They're very progressive. Most of their leaders are real, like left-wing bureaucratic tits.
New Zealand.
Okay, is that your final answer?
New Zealand.
No, but I was just describing what Gareth's talking about. No, I'm going to stick with the very cold country in that area, and then we'll get into why. Denmark.
We've had Denmark.
So you had Denmark. Oh, sorry, Norway.
Yeah.
You got Norway. You got Norway, Finland, and Iceland. If you want to carry on with Scandinavia,
that's kind of where I was going with that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, with 62%, it is the one and only, drumroll.
Go for it.
Germany.
Ooh.
Wow.
Wow, the Germans have fallen so far from the great martial prowess of the pretty much most of the last 500 years, huh? So the land of Bismarck, and I don't know what to say.
I think there's a couple of factors at play here. Cold countries, maybe they've got heated seats, so everything with the toilet is on a seat because you want to be warm. Or is it just because we become so addicted to our phones that we need to pee by sitting down because then we can use our phones?
In our phones. This goes back to what Simphiwe and I were talking about with that guy at the wedding. I don't know. Carl says, I have a micro penis, so in winter I have to sit down to wee.
Oh.
Okay.
Looks like
Fair.
the happiest countries. Giga Shack saying, looks like the happiest countries sit down. Tabo says, you can't expect Australians to sit on the toilet in a country full of all kinds of venomous snakes. Maybe that's a
Very
good
good point. There's no venomous snakes in Germany.
In South Africa, men not only stand and pee, they piss into oncoming traffic. I've seen that too.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
They do it everywhere except the toilet. Like,
apparently, if you're in Sutherland in the Western Cape where we have that observatory, if you go there, you know why they have doilies on the toilet seats. It gets so cold, the toilet seat sticks to your bum. When you get up, the seat comes up with you. Holy shit.
Yeah, so you got to stand. Maybe it's a stand and poo at that place too. See, Africa's tough, huh?
We don't realize how hard it is.
Look, I just think that there's always certain factors that come into why people do what they do. And it's not just because they're Justin Trudeau's. So I reckon it's because of phones. And I think Germans probably, there could be another study. Which country uses their phones the most in the toilets? Probably Germans, because it's their time. It's their time to get in there, whatever they're watching. Yeah.
Stop nonsense. Again, we haven't had a stop nonsense for a while. This nonsense must stop.
It is one of the great things about being a guy that you can stand and pee. Women must crave this. I think women obviously go through most days, obviously, when they go, fuck, I just want to have a stand-up pee at one stage. It feels so good. And
you've got those hideous devices, though. Women can buy those terrible things called a she pee or whatever it is.
You don't want that.
That doesn't look comfortable. It really doesn't.
It's also completely. What do you just pop it in your handbag afterwards with a pee still like dripping off of it?
Ew.
Doesn't seem like a very hygienic way to go. It's not like it's disposable. Is it? I don't know. It's something you have to keep, right? Anyway, all right. Well, we got to wrap this hour up because we're already at 7:00 and it feels like time is flying this Friday morning, which is never a bad thing. We've got lots of things to still talk about. Simphiwe's got something she wants to tell us about called Balloon Fest, which I've never heard of. I also want to ask Ben, he went to Durban for the first time in a long time, and I want to ask him how Durban fares, because we've always given Durban a free pass because of the nice weather and the beaches and beautiful green coastline and everything else. But is it a third world shithole, to quote Donald Trump? Has Durban become a sleazy, trashy, third world toilet bowl? And I think that we need to discuss that because Durban has got a free pass. PE I've always been rude about. Cape Town comes under all kinds of criticisms, even though it's very well run and it's very clean and all the rest of it. We often say rude things about people in Cape Town. Is it Durban's turn this morning? We will find out. All of that and more on the way in the next hour. CliffCentral.com. It is Friday, everybody. And by the way, at 7:15, we've got our guest for the morning, who I'm very, very excited to have on the show, Ebenhaezer Dibakwane, who's going to be joining us in a short while. Don't go anywhere.
Every time you listen to that 80s show, Tom Cruise lives another 10 years. Every Friday on CliffCentral.com, Paolo and Dory review movies, reminisce about old songs, remember childhood places that are now car parks, and say some outrageously rude things about Patrick Swayze's brother. That 80s show, new episode every Friday, live or as a podcast on CliffCentral.com.
Hi, I'm Barrett Edelstein. Join me for my podcast, Celeb Savant. Today, I'm with Sophie Ellis-Bextor.
So right at the moment, I'm at home in London, but after I speak to you, I'm going to pack my bags.
3 of the members of UB40, Earl, Matt, and Jimmy.
Well, we're in the middle of a tour at the moment.
Career retrospective with actors, singers, and entertainment industry experts every Friday morning at 9 o'clock on cliffcentral.com or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Up next in the AutoTrader podcast.
Mobility as a service, how would you kind of define that before we get into what we're talking about exactly?
Well, I think what fits into mobility as a service is anything outside the pure ownership of the asset or the car.
Yeah.
Okay. So mobility as a service, taxis fit into that category. Uber fits into that category. But I think what you want to get into is mobility as a service where there's a longer usage of the car.
Catch us every Monday at 9 a.m. on YouTube and on autotrader.co.za.
All right, we're live and we're back on cliffcentral.com Friday morning. We've got lots of things to get into. It is No Politics Friday, and so far we managed to avoid that. Ben, what are you pouring there? It's as loud as a glacier.
Is it? Oh, it's a good meter away from me. Just getting some hot water in, Gareth.
Okay,
good. Some hot water in. Start your day with hydration and be happy for a whole day.
Very nice. Simphiwe and Ben, we've got to talk about Durban this morning. I've already seen the comments rolling in. Gray says, beautiful poo coastline, assassinations, like AKA and politicians.
Oh, yeah. Fun fact. It was recent. Well, there's a video I watched recently. Durban has a Inkabi problem, which is basically a hitman problem. They have far too many people in that line of work, which is very problematic in this country. So that's number one. That's already number one. So I don't know what else Ben is going to share, but if we're already having an Inkabi problem, it's just going downhill.
I kind of want to take it back further because obviously I grew up in Cape Town, and when you grow up in Cape Town, you think that there's nothing else in the country worth seeing. So you have no idea what exists past Plettenberg Bay, basically. And then obviously I moved to Joburg and I became more of an adult. And then I saw Durban and I was like, hey, this place must have been incredible not so long ago. And then I've done 2 or 3 trips in the last, say, I don't know, let's call it 5 years. And in many ways, like Durban back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, I mean, that was like the Miami of South Africa. But not because I had like a drug problem, but because the weather was incredible. It was like this tropical paradise. And it really is. I get excited about the idea of Durban. And then obviously Durban is not like that. It's an absolute toilet. Like I went there and I drove around. I've never had a bad experience there, but the place is really, it's not great. Like they've had some major issues, obviously, with weather and riots and all these other kind of things. You can't blame them. It's not like they made them happen, but there just feels like there are 10 times too many people there. Everywhere you look in these rolling hills, it's like it's all just suffocated with people and squalor. And obviously Durban then became Durban North. Like it became so shit that there's an entire Durban North, like Umhlanga, where I eventually stayed because I didn't stay in Durban. I drove there. I walked around there at night and it felt like this really incredible yet somewhat sterile first world scenario. But I always kind of, everywhere I go in this country, I always think like, how does stuff just become absolutely shit? Because it has. Well, it's like
I have to stand up for Durban because it's always been one of my favorite places in South Africa, and I've always enjoyed going there. It's only really in the last 2 to 3 years because of what's been happening there that it's become extra shitty. It always used to be lovely, and I've owned property in Durban. I've regularly gone there on holidays.
Yeah,
voluntarily.
Durban or Durban North. Like I feel like they're different things. It's like
it's north of Durban, never in Durban itself. But I've got to say also that up to a short while ago, because even in the 2000s and 2010s, Durban was actually quite cool. Like there was stuff going on there. There were interesting places and people and food and parties, and it was really, really cool. I feel like it's become grimy and grotty and third rate now.
But how does anything like that bounce back? Because tourism is a major driver just to kind of keep the lights on, so to speak. So that gets taken away and flushed out.
Well,
it's
first of all, try not to poo directly into the sea is a good start. I mean, pooing in the sea is usually going to put some people off. You want to flag a beach as blue because people can go and swim there and not get covered in turd. That's usually a good thing.
Turd and chemicals.
Yeah, and I mean, here's a picture you sent me yesterday, Ben, of like there's some shit going on here, which we've just got to explain to people if they're not listening, if they're listening and not watching the podcast on YouTube. There's like a fire. There's a lamp post that's meant to be a street light that's been knocked over. It's just lying there. There's rubbish everywhere. There's like shit's burning. I think there's a terribly small person there next to it. A really, really small person, like a deformed homunculus of a person. The other car in the distance is speeding away as fast as it can. There's like a bucky going over the hill, and I don't know if it's leaving because it started the fire, or it just looks like chaos. This looks like something you'd expect to see in a war zone. It did look like a war zone in places. And like you don't want to shit, like you don't want to shit on people's lives, because if you live around here, you've obviously got some struggles of your own. But how does it just get like this? Like, again, like Joburg City Centre for me is a fascinating place, and I know this country has its historical issues and there's certain reasons why things are a certain way. But that city centre was really quite something, because it was actually one of the most leading, incredible hubs back in the day because of all the money. Same with Durban; it was actually an incredible city, like world class, world standards, world attractions. Absolutely. And now, basically, they cracked in. It's like, how does it start? Is it just 10 drug dealers move in? Is it 10 pimps move in, or is it like 1,000 people come in and just start pooing everywhere? Like, how does all of this work? I would love to know what the breakdown of disaster is in these places, and how can we? I mean, as a human race, this isn't just Durban. This is obviously lots of places. It's just that it's clearly happened very hard and very hot, very fast in Durban. Oh man! And it should be the most beautiful place in the world when you think about it. It really should be. Yeah. So again, how do you get to this the picture that I put up just now of like the fire and the burning shit? How do we get there?
Wait, guys, wait. Like, let's just, calm down a bit. And
I'm all ears.
I think in the past recent years, let's say 3-4 years, we've seen like these natural disasters just like wreaking havoc in Durban, number one, right? So we've kind of now placed that as the place where you don't want to live, because that's the first place nature's going to strike. So I think that's the biggest cause, because when something like that happens, it takes people longer. Like financially, they've set back. They don't have homes anymore. They're not where they used to be financially, and so it's easier for them, or not easier. I think it's easier for a community to kind of just go downhill than still, live that glorious life that it once was. And then obviously with ANC, load shedding, the economy, Cyril, it's just been a recipe for disaster. And I think that's what's happening to
one of the reasons Simphiwe quotes is ANC. It's just like, she makes a very good point. I mean, like, it might not even be the fault of the people who are there, but I always want to know, like, when does your life kick over into, I'm going to just make a fire on the side of the road and knock down the street lamp and, and pour my rubbish out on the side of the road too. Like, I know a lot of poor people who don't do that. They may be poor, but they're not disrespectful and, just like derelict.
Well, giving them a benefit of the doubt, there could have been an accident, so that took the street light out, and knowing this country service delivery and whatnot, it hasn't gotten fixed for months. That's what it's been like that. And then like number two, I'm just saying, like, there could be different factors, and it just so happened that day.
Just look at the shit going on in this picture. It's just, it looks.
Can I just point out?
It's a lot, but I'm just. I've tried, guys. You're high.
Can I just point out that was not isolated, and that was the best piece of road in the 5 kilometer stretch.
I don't know. I tried. I really did.
Simphiwe, for standing up for Durban, we're going to give you lots of love and many points, but I think you're fighting a losing battle here.
But I also want to stand up for these places. I don't want to just be the guy that shits and goes, "Oh, look at this place. Let's go to the toilet." But how does it just become so bad? And again, like Simphiwe, like you can't get away from what you said there. Service delivery is not happening. Okay, cool. So then you talk about the natural disasters like the weather, but the ANC is actually a natural disaster. Then
it is.
It has to be seen. When a place becomes that much of a toilet, you can't just say, "Oh, these people are poor" or whatever, because there's some very easy excuses that you can just throw into here. But then another thing just comes into what I've always said for so long, that overpopulation. No one ever talks about that. That has to be a factor here as well. There are too many people trying to do too many things with nothing going on, and that's why there's a fire. That's why there's a fire. Like, I had nothing else to do that day. Make a fire.
Okay.
All right. I know we're mocking these people because shame they're trying very hard to live their life as Simphiwe. She's tried to stand up for them this morning. Sure, but you don't need to set fire to shit and knock over street poles. I don't understand. That's not helping anybody. So all right, there's our attack on Durban. Some people call it Turden. Steve says Turden. I mean, that's not very nice, but yes, okay. That little tick homunculus is at least being industrious, melting down the copper with his little fire pit. Is that really what's going on there?
Coco Chris, it's amazing that you know the ways of the wilds out here.
I mean, that little tick thing is about this big. I'm going to put the picture up again. You can just barely see it. Look, Ben, you need to look very carefully. I don't even think you saw it when you were driving. You see there's the red car.
Yes.
And between the red car and the fire, there's this tiny little person who Congo Chris reckons is melting down the copper in his tick pit. I think that's so hilarious. All right, very good. Before you go, Ben, Simphiwe wants to tell us about something called Balloon Fest. What is this? Why should we know about Balloon Fest? And I've never heard of this before.
So, Gareth, we had like a lengthy conversation once upon a time as the people when we spoke about Fire Festival, and we're like, "Oh, what a disaster! Yes. How could that ever happen?" But no, there was something worse, than Fire Festivals back in the day, in like 1986. So in September, on the 27th. There was a fundraiser for the United Way, and it was intended to break the world record for simultaneously releasing small helium-filled balloons.
Oh, boy.
And so they released 1.5 million balloons up in the air.
Oh,
and that was just disastrous, right? The natural, the natural weather. The weather kind of helped with like bringing some of the balloons down, but most of them landed on the lake, the seas. 2 men were killed. And you won't believe where this happens, because I feel like only in America, in this particular place, crazy things like this happen. In Ohio, this is where people thought...
I've got a picture of it for everybody, just to give you an idea of the scale of this thing. And can you imagine all the bits of, because it's balloon, what do they make it out of? Rubber?
I think
plastic. So. It's like a plastic
rubber. Terrible idea.
Look at all these balloons that were released into the sky. What a bunch of morons. This is 1986. Obviously, they didn't give a shit about the environment in 1986. I mean, it looks like, those hundreds and thousands that you'd put on an ice cream?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it looks like. Each one of those is filled with helium, and it's made of plastic, and it's going to end up clogging up. So Cleveland is a shithole to start off with. I mean, the only thing...
Maybe it became a shithole in the back of this.
I think this is what happened, is they clogged up. Imagine all the pipes being clogged with like old balloons. They're probably still pulling balloons out of things in Cleveland, filled with like animal hair and, feces and all kinds of other shit. I mean, just don't do... What a stupid idea. Was the mayor fired after this? That's what I want to know.
It's a war crime.
I have no idea. And this was all for a world record. So, people don't think and they're trying to
No.
break these records. So I
No.
guess this is actually one of the worst things that people have ever done, like in history. If we had to like look back, Fire Festival, oh my gosh, oh my word, but Balloon Fest, what were you guys thinking? 1.5 million balloons just up in the air. Just like that.
V-Roast reminds us it's made of latex. Balloons are made of latex. And thank goodness we got rid of plastic straws, because of course, the balloons aren't nearly as big a problem. And then Slippery Pickle, just to tie it all into a nice little bow, says, I think they all then ended up in Durban. So don't worry, guys. There's always a worse place than what you think you're in at the moment. Ben, thanks very much. We'll see you in a couple of days.
Well,
have an awesome weekend.
I won't be here next Friday.
Neither am I. Well, next Friday is a public holiday.
Yeah, I was going to say, not seeing you either, Ben.
That too. Okay.
All right, guys.
2 weeks, guys. I'm already excited.
Very good. Cheers, Ben. Bye-bye. Friday. It is already 18 minutes past 7 if you're watching the clock for some reason, and we're going to be joined now by somebody who I've actually been looking to get on the show for a long time. He is in, and I mentioned this to Simphiwe earlier. You'll see it if you haven't seen it already. It's a new ad for Tropica. The reason I can't play it is because then YouTube always slam us with that copyright thing. You get into trouble, but look out for it on the internet. It's very cool. It's called the new Tropica Smooth Driver ad, in which Ebenezer's the driver of the car, and he's doing like a driving test, effectively, on an island, tropical island, with this woman who is she's the driving instructor, right, or the driving test woman, and she's very serious, and it's a cute ad. It's hilarious because he manages to park his car in a way that nobody in the whole world can when it comes to parallel parking. Manages to avoid the potholes doing a slalom. It's very cool. It's very funny. It's very cute. I saw it just yesterday, and I'm very pleased that I did. Hey, Ebenezer, well done on the ad, dude. It's awesome. I love it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cliff. How are you doing?
I'm good, my friend. Nice to see you.
Can you hear me?
And I see you're killing it at the moment. You've obviously, for those people who don't know, you're a comedian who's worked alongside Dylan Oliphant, Trevor Noah, Mark Lottering, Basketmouth, Carl Joshua Ngube, Eugene Koza, Tatson Konzo, and many, many more. You've also started various theater productions. You've been in TV, and now you're in this new ad. So you've been busy, man.
I have. Also, I just wanted to say before we carry on, I knew there was something off about the movie Up. I didn't know what it fucking was until I saw that balloon face. I'm like, this is just, I get it's a love story, but are we still allowed to swear, Gareth?
You can say whatever you want.
Allowed to swear?
You can say anything you like.
All right, yeah. Second of all, I try to speak to my parents like once a month. And every time I do, I try to think of all the bullshit they taught me that I'm trying to unlearn. One of those things was never quit. I'm like, have you heard of Gareth Cliff? I'm trying to respect you, man. Have you heard of Cliff, DJ Fresh, DJ Screw? I'm naming like 1,000 people. I should have quit while I was ahead. Now I'm promoting ad. Ask yourself that question. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, Tropica. I know they're watching.
I love that.
I'm very happy to be here at 7:20 in the fucking morning.
I know. It's your favorite place to be first thing on a Friday morning. Hey, at least we're keeping you away. We're keeping you away from drugs and prostitutes. So be grateful, all right?
That's the shit I love, Gareth. This is why I got into the game. When I heard, why do you think I fucking stand in front of people and tell jokes? I'm joking, man. No, bro, yeah, bro. Very, very fortunate, writing on Netflix as well. There's a show that we're writing right now. Actually, shot a show on Netflix, so that'll be a double whammy if they come out around the same time.
Sure. What's about
I've
that?
been very fortunate with some
hold on. What's
obviously,
the Netflix show? We want to hear about this Netflix show. There's like a slight delay.
Yeah.
I know I'm not at liberty to say exactly what it is, but what I can say is it me.
Yeah. Such a few.
Am I the one who has the slight delay?
Yes. A bit.
You guys are sure it's not your internet because, guys.
You.
It's you.
Oh my
It seems like it's a you
goodness.
problem. Just switch off your
Please.
camera and just put it on audio only. That
Alright.
should help.
Yeah, that'll
Okay.
help.
Let me do that. Let me do that.
There we go.
So
Alright, there
yeah,
we go.
so
Is that faster now? You can
So-
hear us properly?
I can hear you guys properly.
Okay, good. So you can't
But-
tell us what the Netflix show is. Oh, damn.
But I can tell you about it, right? It's kind of set in a university. So it's YAD, but more university space. A lot of it's a dramedy. So one of our first dramedies, I think. We trying to take the next step as far as how to win Christmas goes with the YADC. Is that we're making a new genre, young adult drama comedy, right?
I love it.
Anyway,
That's
so
awesome.
so there's a lot of political stuff in there. We take a piss. In that realm. Bro. There's a lot that I don't wanna get sued and lose
All right.
all the money that
No,
might be coming my way.
we don't want,
But-
and we don't want to get you in trouble either. So don't worry about it. You don't have to tell us. But that's very cool that you're in a Netflix series. You've also been doing stand up, right? You haven't stopped doing that throughout. That's still going well for you.
Yeah, dude. I got to do my one-man show. I forget. Like around in Feb, I think I did it in Feb. I did my first hour. Imagine that, bro. In 9 years, 8 years, 9 years of So I did my first hour. That went really well.
Nice.
I got to say all the shit that I really wanted to say to people who kind of know what I think about. Yeah, bro. So been very fortunate in that round. Other than that, bro, same masturbation jokes. You're not gonna take time out to research. You know what I'm trying to say? We talk about all that dumb shit, bro. Bums and farts.
Yeah. It's very highbrow. You know, what I've always liked about your
You
show
know what I
is
mean? Like, it's like nothing
it's very
is
much
serious.
like it's at the intellectual end. And you know, when I go out, what I really want is for people to break down, Immanuel Kant and Aristotle for me when I'm trying to laugh. So that's why I come to your show. I come for the intellectual stimulation.
Yeah. Aristotle, more like ass is bottles.
I wonder if you guys from Tropica knew.
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
You've got this foul mouth, and that I find you hilarious, so I'm not going to make excuses for you. But I wonder when people, because everybody's so careful and woke these days, and you've got to make sure that you hire someone who's socially conscious and says all the right things. And meanwhile, you're up there telling ass jokes, and a lot of brands would go, "Oh, we don't know that he's such a foul-mouthed, dirty person who likes talking about things like masturbation." Right?
No, of course not. I don't like talking about it either. But how else do I? I'm trying to paint a picture of our present society. It's a mirror. It's a mirror, Gareth, and everything is ass. You know what I'm trying to say? Everything is ass, and everything's a wank. You know what I mean? Our best politicians. You know what I'm trying to say? And so, yeah. But I mean, when it comes to this Tropica ad, can we place him in another bracket with this Tropica ad, Gareth? Essentially, that's the story. The story is that despite all of the shortcomings, despite all of the things like the potholes and the load shedding and all of these things that try to impede us from moving,
we try to do this thing on a Friday where we try not to get into politics, because it's so easy for South Africans. Also, we slip straight into politics as soon as we get together and start talking. It's a habit that we're going to take a long time to shake. We always start worrying about stuff that we can't control. Cyril's useless. Becky Cele. Angie Mochecha. That's all people do, is they get together and they start bitching about these things. And obviously, it serves a purpose. There's it's a pressure release for us. We have to be able to joke about it and stuff. That's why we go to comedy shows like yours. The last time I spoke to you, though, was probably April last year. So it's been a while since you've been on the show.
Yeah. It has been quite a while. Yeah.
Sure.
But yeah, dude, I think should I set the camera off again? I don't know. All right, so yeah, man. So man, I think since then, bro, I've also been over the whole idea of the pure artist and what that meant to me. Right now I'm just excited about trying to tell stories in different mediums and different spaces. Also, it's very fortunate that I'm able to kind of be part of projects because Tropic Ad is the first ad that I've done where I'm not like, I don't have to run with my underwear or carry like feathers and
what?
and roll around in like egg yolk and jump into feather coop and wrestle a cockroach. You know what I mean?
What horrible shit. I mean, are you sure you were working on ads before, or was this kind of some the S&M bondage sex club that you were in? It sounds pretty rough.
I think I spoke about the wrong one. Sorry. Yeah. Oh my God, my agent's gonna kill me. That was a secret. I signed a non-disclosure. Gareth, were you there? I feel like you were there, bro.
This is where you go. I'm sorry, my internet's breaking up really badly. Sorry, guys, can't hear you. Bye.
The camera. There's something wrong with the camera.
Oh man, have you?
By the way, Gareth, I know you're looking at me like I'm and the people at home might be thinking, wow, this guy is just consistently contemplating something. No, bro.
No, right. Your earphones are broken.
I'm not thinking.
Everybody's saying like, why is the sound so weird with you? But it's because your earphones are broken, so you're holding that earphone in place. Okay, I got you. I love it. So, dude, have you managed to settle down in a relationship, or is that not on the agenda at all?
Yeah, dude, 3 years strong.
What?
So the same one. Oh, very nice.
Yeah, 3 years strong, bro. 1 year monogamous. But it's been great. She's right here.
Wait, 1 year monogamous? Wait, you guys have been together for 3 years.
I always just assume that you politicians, I mean, you comedians are going to have a really rough time and trying to keep a relationship together because you're out there on the road all the time and there are other people who love you and it's very hard to be your girlfriend and all that stuff. So I just assume the relationships aren't going to last. But if you've done 3 years, that's amazing. Well done.
No, man, it's really been a he's right here. It's been a blessing, and I just waking up to the same person and
you just love it, right?
Just say the right best thing.
All right, just blink twice if you want us to send someone to save you.
No, don't send anyone here. Never.
That's so great. Oh, Carl DeSantos says, my biggest wish is that Ebenezer gets paid enough by Tropica to buy new headphones and a mic.
I don't know. Is it like echoing?
No, it sounds fine. As long as you hold your hand on
These
that
people
thing,
are finicky. Yeah, keep the consistency. What should we join you for moral support with that?
Yeah.
Just
we'll
you know.
Talking to you from inside a relationship. It's great. Back to the studio.
Cool. Now your sound is bad. I don't know why, but it seems to have gone. It seems to have gone really horrible there.
Wait,
all right. Well, there. That's good. No. That's fine. That's fine. Don't fiddle with it now. It's perfect. It's perfect.
All right, all right, cool. I was saying.
All right.
I'm speaking to you here from inside a perfect relationship. Back to your studio.
Thank you. Roger that. And if you ever feel like you are not happy, just make sure that you wink once or twice and we'll send help your way. Because this is the Gareth Cliff Show.
If you need some help, call our hotline 08060 help, please. That's 08060 help, please.
All right. So, what else have you been up to? Like, where else? Give us an update on what else has changed and what hasn't in the last year, because we haven't spoken to you in a while.
Yes, sir. So in the last year, there's like a lot that has happened. Like I told you, I shot this young adult drama comedy. I'm writing.
You seem to have quite a lot of work. There are plenty of comedians who are still struggling to get the work that they had pre-COVID. Do you think it's gone back to normal? Are people going out and like enjoying comedy the way they did before?
I think a lot of comedians have learned to kind of diversify. You know, a lot of comedians have gone back to like day job situations, which I think is smart as a comedian. If you want to stay true as a comedian, you know, because some of us, and I mean, I'm very fortunate that I am with brands that align with my ideals, but some of us have to align everything we do with brands. And so there's certain things that you can't really say anymore and expose about yourself depending on, you know what I mean? But I've been very fortunate that like a part.
You know, we were talking about this before you came on about like LIV Golf with the Saudis and all these golfers who are taking that money. People have got to get paid. We've got to make money. You've got to live. I don't think we should be judging other people on this shit.
Yeah, for sure, bro. For sure.
Who are these pure
for sure, bro.
Unless you have Elon Musk money and you can buy Twitter in order to say what you really think, the rest of us don't really have a chance. I mean, of course, you can stand on principle and go, well, I'm the sort of person who believes X, Y, and Z. But, you know, mostly that's going to cost you a lot more than it's worth. Anywhere in the world. It's not just in South Africa.
No, for sure. Yeah, bro. And like, I think, yeah, bro. So what is a few...
I want to ask all of you about this. So Simphiwe, anybody who's listening to us this morning, this is something that they've invented now. They're very proud of themselves. I hate flying in planes. Planes are always terrible. It's just a big bus in the sky. Doesn't matter whether you are first class, business class, or economy. It's still shit because you're stuck in this tube. Bunch of other people, they're farting the whole time. The food's never going to be amazing. It's always going to be a long time. You're always uncomfortable. The seats are just never perfect. Now they've decided, they're all proud of themselves. This inventor has decided he's come up with a double-decker airplane seat. Take a look at this.
Oh, no.
Yeah, look at this guy.
Oh, no.
All excited. He's invented a double seat here. So now...
hell no.
It's been bad enough already, but now it's going to be even worse. So on a plane, now you're going to have people kind of sitting. Let me try and describe this to you. So you will be sitting in your row. Let's say you're on the bottom in like a regular row. This is that at the same height where your feet would be touching the ground. Then directly behind you and between you and the next seat behind you. By the way, the seat behind you is going to be looking directly into the area of where your ass is on the seat above. Then the seat in the middle is kind of raised slightly. So you'd probably be bumping your head on the ceiling at this point. I don't know how this is going to work, but they seem to be very proud of themselves. It's a new invention. A lot of people are very excited about this. I am not. What do you say about this? Go ahead. Ebenezer, what do you think first?
Bro, I don't know. When I've seen double deckers in real life too, I don't think double deckers made buses better. The word improvement sometimes, guys. You know what? There's 3 times where I thought double decker never worked. The time my girlfriend tried to bring an extra person into the relationship. The time they tried to make those buses never made it better. And those pizzas, those double decker pizzas are terrible. Why would you think it will work in the sky? Back to you in studio.
Couldn't agree more. All right. So let me read you the story quickly because this is going to be horrifying to those people who don't already know. Okay, so this guy who invented this, he's 23 years old, very proud of himself. You can see smiling in that picture. His name is Vincente. Hang on a second. Let me just get this right. Nunes Vincente. And he is 23. He is busy showing off this plane that we put in the picture just now with the double-decker seats at the Aircraft Interior Expo in Hamburg in Germany. So this time, everything's gone fine, but there's been a huge debate about farting because a lot of people who commented on this on Reddit, thing went viral, said fun for the farter, but not for the fartee. Farts aside, the bottom seat is the only one with extra legroom. A lot of people say, well, you've got to be careful because hot air rises. So you know, a lot of people in the top seats will have to deal with a lot worse smells than the people in the bottom seats. But I'm with you, Ebenezer. I don't see how double decker has ever been better. Simphiwe, you want to try at this?
No, like, why? What was the reason? Why? No. Is a no for me because
trying to squeeze
I know
more
I'm the problem.
No.
No. But I'm the problem. I can already see myself as a short person who sits down, who my feet, yeah, they touch the ground, but I like swinging them. And I already know that you're gonna have someone just kicking that thing, and then you're annoyed, and you have to go up and be like, "Excuse me, can you stop doing that?" People already complain about kids on an airplane. How more when you have to be like, "Excuse me, ma'am, your child is making." No, it's a no.
And it's and the child is like, I don't speak to peasants.
But which which seat would be worse? I mean, if you take a look at this picture, I reckon both have got major negatives to them. So first of all, obviously we mentioned in the top seat you're going to have to deal with more fart smells because you're higher up. But also in the top seat, it's going to be complicated for some people to get in there. Old people are not going to be able to get in there. People who they wheel down the corridor in those tiny little wheelchairs are not going to be able to get in there. Obese people aren't going to be able to get in there. So it's going to be very, very difficult for them to sell this to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I don't see the bottom seats kind of worse in some ways because you've now got someone towering over above you. Imagine they throw up and then it's going to dribble down the seats. Before you only had to worry about in front and behind. Now you have to worry about the stuff hitting you from above. I haven't thought this through, right?
Yeah.
Back to the drawing board.
Is that the guy who designed it? The guy in the picture?
That kid is the one who came up with this plan. He wants us to suffer more.
This guy looks like he's from Boksburg, and like his uncle made it big. Looks like he's from Boksburg, somewhere in the East End.
Yeah, careful.
Can you guys hear me?
Simphiwe's going to get all militant on you. She's from the East End.
Are you sure you want to say that again?
Are you close your own shit, Ebenezer?
He looks like he's from my hometown. But he should not have been given this chance. He should have been, how? Or does he own the planes? That's what I'm trying to say. It looks like his uncle owns those.
No. I don't like this at all. I feel like this is a very, very dangerous move. Air travel's bad enough. They're going to make it even worse.
Wait, and then question, on an airplane, there's a number of people that can, like the seats, right? So with this double decker, is it going to double the amount of people? Wait, so there's more people on the plane now.
I don't know if it'll double them, but they'll certainly try to squeeze more people in. So that's the plan. Is it will make it more full, more uncomfortable, more cramped. I don't think this is good in any way. And I hate to shoot down in invention and innovation because I know people are trying hard to come up with new ideas and make some money and make life more convenient and more efficient. But I don't like this at all. I want to go back to when they used to smoke on the planes. Remember when there were those days where you had the TV ads and then everyone was always smoking everywhere. And the planes were like full of really, really hot cabin crew. They were all wearing these tight little dresses. They basically were like, I don't know. They were the prettiest women. They were models. They were all supermodels. And then they would bring you good food, and you could smoke on the plane. Not that I'm a smoker, but that's how much freedom you had. Now it feels like you're in a prison camp when you get into a plane. They're like, "Where is your seatbelt, sir? Take off your headphones." All of that stuff. It feels like it's really gone backwards. It hasn't gone forwards.
Yeah, it's weird. One of the flight attendants asked me, "Chicken or beef, maggot?" And I'm like,
exactly. Yeah, they talk to you like that. They have no respect for the passenger at all. You're just a low fare customer on a bus, basically. You're being treated. It's like those bus conductors who'd come down and go, "Where's your ticket?" In the old days.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I think it is.
Yeah.
Congo
But last question.
Congo Chris says those seats look like a Boksburg apartment.
A
lot of hatred for Boksburg coming through here now.
I love Boksburg.
Yeah.
It's like time traveling. I don't need a time machine. Every time I want to go back in time and reminisce. They still have a bread loaves. Who has a bread loaves, guys? I just want to. I saw a bread loaves on a Joshua door.
Yes, because our grandmothers stayed. Okay, you know it. I don't like your tone. I really don't.
You're looking for shit now, Ebenezer. You've really scratched the wrong itch.
I'm coming. I can't wait to join you guys in the studio live. Me and
Simphiwe can kill you with a knife in the studio.
Yeah, I will do it. Guys, I was on Twitter yesterday and I saw one of the most amazing clips of all times, right? So remember back in the day when reality TV was still hitting South Africa, like for the first time, they did like this reality show of like these soccer girlfriends, soccer wives, right? And they got in the A-listers back then. And there was this clip of these two ladies that didn't really get along. The one lady is Wendy and I forgot the other lady. And she didn't get along with this girl because she was the girlfriend who kept saying, he spends so much money on me, he does this or whatever. But she was also then saying a lot of shit about Wendy. Like, you know? And so now it's the reunion. I think it's post-reunion. They're now doing their media tour. And they're at a radio station. And it's the both ladies sitting there and they're asking them, so when you said this, what did you mean? And Wendy was like, yeah, say it to my face. You could say it on sit. And she's like, I don't speak, I beat. And she was just like ready to start a fight right there, like on some, I don't tolerate this. If you're gonna say something, say it to my face. Like, and this was like captured. And it's one of the best clips ever where it's like, she's about it. Like she even did that, you know, when someone does this, she was disrespectful. And she was like, say it to my face. That's all I'm saying.
So who are these women?
That entire thing was because of the Boksburg thing. Damn.
Yes, say it to my face.
But it's become something that people do now. I think people look for fights. I saw this terrible thing on social media as well about these two women fighting in a Little Mermaid movie in front of the kids. She's like, oh, you say that to my face. Obviously, it's in America. And these two women are like, the one woman's like pulling the other one's hair. It's girl fights are way worse than guy fights. I've got to say that.
I prefer to watch them though.
No, they're hilarious.
Because they're hilarious, not because of any voyeuristic forbid from me.
Well, by the way, there's someone, Congo Chris is also saying here, I haven't seen a Solly Kramers in 20 years. Then I went to Boksburg and I saw one. Solly Kramers. Wow. Bradlow's, Solly Kramers. What was the other one you said? Ellerines.
Joshua Dore. Joshua
Dore.
Yeah,
wow.
but it's the Ellerines. By Boksburg CPC.
Time capsule. You guys have not. You guys are still doing what you did in the 80s.
There's a lot of that going on.
Come on, you own it. Is it true? You just said that there is.
No, I'm not owning it. I'm just saying the people that stay there. I stay with my grandmother, okay? And she's very fussy on where you get furniture. And so they have to accommodate people like her. And there are quite a few retirement homes in Boksburg. So that's the only reason, guys. That's the only reason. Okay, we have other things.
So where does she like to go for her furniture?
Well, you see all these stores. So there's Boksburg CBD, and basically it's just a strip, and you get to pick. You know, we go to Boksburg town. She'll just be like, well, today I wanna go there, and you go there. It's like it's just another normal day.
You see, you didn't even know it, Ebenezer. Look, you've hit on a very sensitive thing for people from the East Rand. This is why you're a good comedian. Because you notice these things and then people are embarrassed.
No, but like the thing is, my girlfriend's from Boksburg. I met her in Boksburg actually, and then she actually asked for my number. And I said like 067, and she took out a rotary phone. She's like 067. All right. You know what? Let me get you on Facebook. And she's like, let me dial it up. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna write you letters. And now we've been together 3 years later, going strong. It's been amazing.
How about this? Tracy says, what about Morkel's, your 2-year guarantee store?
Oh, the hits are coming out, buddy.
Morkel's. Please stop. Can we change the conversation? George, where are you? Help!
Simphiwe, just raise your hand if there's also a Morkels.
George Mini, where are you? Please.
All right.
Yes,
But the load shedding is not as bad though. In Boksburg because they still with Casco. You guys remember Casco? the old electrical company.
Peri-urban.
No, right. I see. I some of the blue label workers are riding on bicycles there still.
Shame.
It's a great. Boksburg is better. They didn't rely on the grid.
We started this hour. We started this hour shitting all over Durban, and now we're shitting all over Boksburg. Let us wrap things up this morning by getting George Meany on. George Meany, AutoTrader.co.za. So he was thrilled that you're on, George, because she was falling into a trap where she was forced to defend Boksburg. When last did you go to an Ellerine's, a Morkels, or a Bradlow's, or a Joshua Door?
You know, some of the stores I've seen exist in like more rural areas, like in the Free State, you know, towns. I've seen them exist there. Like you drive past and you still exist. Wow.
Come on.
Yo, George, I thought you were going to save me, and then you say that.
It's the
How about
truth.
this one? Yes, Lady Lee says, Bears. Remember Bears? Bears really cares about you. Remember them? Oh my God. There's another one. All right, let's go. What do you got for us this morning, George?
Well, our next iteration of our ads that poke the funny is out. I sent you a link there, Gareth, if you haven't got it already.
I don't know if I can play that now. I don't know if I can play it on here, just like I could play the ad that Ebenezer's in.
Oh, I see. Okay, let me see if
you
maybe
see if you and Khomolemo can find a way to play that, because I can't play it on my side.
Even if we can't play it, go and have a look on my Instagram account, and you'll see a version of that ad. But basically, somebody's searching on AutoTrader, and they choose a car that is out of their price range, and when they click on the ad, all their furniture disappears. And so they try and undo what they're doing. So I mean, I'm hacking the ad. You should go watch it. I thought it was quite funny. So the last one was the guy stuffing money into his couch. This is the next iteration, and then there's a third one to highlight the fact that AutoTrader now has price ratings.
I love it. All right, well, we'll check that out. We'll see if we can play it a little bit later, maybe at the end of the show. What else have you got for us this morning, George?
So Tesla has hit a massive milestone in the first quarter of this year, and in their crusade to ramp up EV adoption, they are the #1 vehicle seller, EV, globally for the first quarter of the year.
Wow.
Marking the first time an EV is the top selling vehicle. Now that's not amongst EVs, it's amongst all cars. So they're kind of topping the charts now. People are buying Teslas hand over foot.
Are there a lot of Teslas in South Africa? Are there any Teslas in South Africa?
I know of one Tesla Model X, which was imported. You can import any car you want, provided you stick to the rules of privately importing a car. It's very, very expensive to do. And then there was a Tesla Model 3, probably about 2-3 years ago, that was in South Africa as well. So those are the only two I know of. The problem with importing a car like that is it's not supported by anybody. The OEM is not here. If you're going to get parts, if you're going to bump it, scratch it, get a ding on the windscreen or a crack on the windscreen, you're going to suffer.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, the whole point with having these super rare cars or cars that aren't necessarily, they don't have manufacturers or service departments here in South Africa, is you have to have tons of money if something goes wrong.
Exactly. I mean, just the supply chain issues. I mean, Jaguar, the I-Pace is sold here. And I got a crack on the windscreen end of last year. I think it was November. I waited almost 6 months for that windscreen. I had a crack across the middle of the windscreen for about 6 months. And
I mean, in Boksburg, they don't wait that long for crack. Oh, you meant, sorry, I thought you meant the windscreen. Sorry. All right, well.
So
Ebenezer, you don't have to be quiet during this part. George is used to everybody
okay, hey, man.
Yeah. You see, he's so good at this. This is why brands hire him to do their ads.
Let it be known.
Yeah.
All right. What else you got?
AutoTrader.
I didn't hear what you said, Ebenezer.
I said nothing.
Don't worry about
it. Somebody has taken a Toyota Corolla. Talking about Tesla, somebody has taken a Toyota Corolla and turned it into a Tesla transformer, and that's what it looks like. Tesla transformer, and this car can transform into a robot.
Wow.
They are so Tesla mad that they turned their Toyota Corolla into a Tesla transformer. Now,
from South Africa.
I think that, well, that was going to be my punchline, which is this is a South African.
Sorry. Sorry, as you were. Sorry,
you know what? Ebenezer, I'm just going to take you off for a moment because every time we talk, then there's some delay, and George and I aren't sure whether you're on or not. Go on, George. You were saying with this Tesla?
So it's a South African. Ufentse Matsu is his name. He says he loves building things, and he channeled his passion into customizing his Toyota Corolla or Toyota Taz, should I say, and making it look like a Tesla Model X. I mean, I'm not so sure if it looks like a Tesla Model X. Looks more like something from space. But he's transformed his car. I mean, I'd love to see this thing in real life, and whether it actually transforms or not. But apparently, it does.
Tell him to bring it around to your offices. I'm sure it wouldn't be the first bizarre car that you've had on your premises and that you've had on your books. Here's a quick question for you. Borge, do you have a favorite muscle car?
Yes, I do. I love the I think it's the 68 Ford Mustang.
All right, that's your one.
Okay.
That's very nice. Very nice. Then Borge says, Cunning Stunt, is AutoTrade Auctioneers a real company?
Know nothing about them.
So not related to AutoTrader at all. If they are out there, just be aware, everybody. And George, why are tracker companies, you're getting lots of questions today. Lovely Lady Lee says, George, why are tracker companies and insurers holding us ransom? What does she mean?
What do you mean, lovely lady?
Okay, I don't know if we can answer that. We need to know more. We need to know more. That's a terrible question. I'm sorry I even asked it. Tracy says, is that a Corolla that you've just described that identifies as a Tesla? I think that's what it is, right?
That is exactly right.
Right. It's Transcar. All right. Very
good.
Well,
it is a transformer. A transformer.
Yeah. Yes, of course. I mean, the Transformers, there also used to be something called a Trans Am, wasn't there?
Yes, exactly. Trans Am. Michael Knight drove it. In Knight Rider.
Right. Yeah. So there's lots of trans cars. It's not new. Cars were transing before humans. Now you know. Right. Anything else you want to throw in?
Yeah, one last thing, and that is I don't know whether I believe this or not. Okay, but it was on a reputable news platform, and that is somebody has come up with a air-powered technology to power a car. Air-powered car. It pulls electricity out of thin air. Apparently,
sounds too good to be true.
It does, because anything out of thin air is if it's too good to be true, it's probably not true.
Then it's not true. Yeah.
So apparently there's this device it's the size of a thumbnail, thinner than a strand of hair, works at a molecular level by smashing materials into small particles. Now, isn't that called a particle accelerator?
Yeah, and if you have let me tell you something, you do not want a particle accelerator in your car traveling with you at hundreds of kilometers an hour. This is a recipe for disaster. You're going to open up black holes, depending on obviously how powerful your particle accelerator is, creating antimatter. This is a very bad idea. I want everybody to stop this immediately. This is nonsense.
Exactly. I don't know if it's even possible.
All right. Well, here's Mary with one last question. Mary Mulema, who says, George, do you guys have a car that cost 13,000 Rand? I don't think so. We found your cheapest car the other day. I think it was 16.
Yeah. I mean, let's have a look quickly and we can go price.
We're doing a live. Mary, you must know how important you are to us. George is doing a live search on the site now to see what the cheapest car is.
11,900 and 12,950. There you go. There's two you can go for.
11,000 Rand. Mary, you're going to have a great weekend. You're going to save 2 grand on a 13,000 Rand car. Go for it. That's great news. All right, everybody. Listen, I want to thank Ebenezer. I'm sorry I had to drop him off the call, but the delay was becoming a problem, and he's awesome, and you can find out more about him by following him on social media. I'm going to put up his details again for those people who didn't get to see it, so follow him. Here he is at _Ebenezer, spelled EBENHAEZER. Thank you very much, dude, for being with us again. It's always good to see you. We will have him in studio next time. Simphiwe, you have a good weekend. George, you have an awesome weekend. And we will see everybody else Monday morning, bright and early at 6 a.m.